Maybe you have been nervous and avoiding speaking opportunities, or you do take them, but it's not the real you, right? When you go up there, you're not showing your authentic self. You don't feel comfortable being the center of attention and definitely not sharing your message in a bigger way. This show is for you if you're a professional or a business owner who wants to become a confident public speaker. Welcome to the Speak with Confidence show. I'm your host, Lucas Mattiello. Most people, they struggle with public speaking. That's actually one of the most common fears in the world. They don't want to put themselves out there, but it also limits your career. It limits your life, your ability to put yourself out there. And right now, we are living in what I call the exposure era, where it is now more important than ever. It's about who knows you. Because in today's world, when people see you, whether it's if you're an entrepreneur, seeing your products, your videos, your talks, they don't need to know who you were before. But when they see you, now they know you. And if they know you, they can dig more into it, find out what you offer, and work with you. And if you're in corporate, you're a corporate professional, being able to stand out, to be seen, is a leadership trait. So whether that's speaking up in meetings or leading the team, any way that you look at it, it's an expected skill. Now, unfortunately for most people, they don't have that skill. Most people, again, the fear of public speaking is one of the most common situations there is, or people haven't done training to improve their abilities. So that's why what we're gonna do is on the show, we're gonna be sharing strategies, tips, best practices that are gonna help you get the skills so that you can put yourself out there. But the one thing is more important though, it's about the inner game. Most of my clients, when they start, they want to look good on stage. They want to look good when they're speaking in public. They want to look good on video, but the tactics aren't going to get you there. Tactics are helpful. It's a foundation, but the real key is about you putting yourself out there. The obstacles typically come back to, I don't want to look bad. People have had negative experiences. They've had situations where they were just completely humiliated, or they saw other people be humiliated when speaking public, and they say, I don't want that to be me. It's almost like a risk-reward analysis it happens very quickly, where you're thinking, okay, the pros of speaking in public and putting myself out there are that I'll get exposure, I'll be positioned, but the cons, right? The potential drawbacks are I could be humiliated, I could be exposed as not being as credible as I thought or other people think that I am. It could be a huge loss to the reputation if you do a bad job. And so when we weigh it up, people typically, they'll go to the survival, which the survival is to continue going at the same place that you've been before. And unfortunately, that doesn't help you advance your career. So that's why we do this. And this whole theory around this really comes from my own experience. A little bit about me is people see me and they see the TEDx talk, they see the speaking on stages, they see the clients, but that wasn't always the case. I actually struggled with panic attacks and anxiety all throughout my high school years, for 15 years, from 14 to 29. And I was having anxiety. I didn't know it was panic attacks. I didn't know it was anxiety. I just felt a sense of low-level dread constantly. And the panic attacks, if it was a situation where I got overwhelmed, I'd always be looking for the exits and thinking, like, how do I get out of here? And avoiding situations. Now, the problem is when you don't know what you're struggling with, it's hard to get help. It's actually impossible to get help, especially when you combine it with a feeling of shame. And that shame is what prevented me from letting people know and say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. How can I help? And unfortunately, that creates, you have to build like an armor to armor yourself up to, when people say, oh, hey, are you okay? You're like, no, I'm fine. And that takes a cost, right? It takes a toll. There are costs that come with it, which are that people don't get to know the real you. This continued until I was 29 when I had a job layoff and everything fell apart. But when things fall apart, things also get clear. And it was when things fell apart, I was unemployed, I was single, I was thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do with my future. And I went to the doctor because the anxiety got really bad. He looked at me and said, you look horrible and we need to get you some serious help. The doctor booked me a consultation at the local hospital at the mental health ward. And that's where I met a psychiatrist. And from there, we ran through some tests. They diagnosed me with panic disorder. And I entered a stress management recovery program where it was focused on being in a support group. And that was a game changer because I saw how many people were also struggling with situations like I was struggling with. But also the concept of exposure therapy was introduced, tools, techniques, breathing, mindfulness. And this set me on a new path. It set me on a path to say, you know what, I'm not alone and this can get better. And that was a turning point because from there, when I saw that other people were struggling, I thought other people might be struggling as well. And so I started reaching out, doing a blog, sharing my experiences, and I was asked to go speak at different mental health associations and groups to unemployed youth, to different centers. And it's kind of funny because I was anxious talking about my anxiety. It was one of those funny scenarios, but as I kept doing it, the reason that I was nervous was because, being vulnerable brought up some fears. But as I kept doing it, I started getting more confident. And people started reaching out, asking me if I could help them with their anxiety. So I started working with people one-on-one. That led to corporate opportunities. And then at a corporate training, one of the HR directors said, hey, could you do a workshop about the fear of public speaking? And I was like, yeah, okay, I could do that. So I did it, and it went really well. And that became so much more fun to help people build their business, to put themselves out there, and use my background with stress management training, my personal experience to understand where people are at and help them move past it, and then combine that with best practices for public speaking. It's created a very specialized and powerful program called Speak with Confidence that helps people become confident public speakers, because the tactics alone aren't enough. It's the personal side, it's the vulnerability, it's the personal development that's needed to really go to that next level, to break free from the fear, to be able to step into your power. This journey, this is what I'm excited for. It's about showing you the different episodes that are going to be coming out regularly. I'm going to be having interviews with clients, with other people that are in the industry. I'm going to be sharing with you the information, the expert videos out there of tactics that are tangible that you can use, and also motivation to say, yes, you can do it. Because the one thing to remember is that public speaking, it's not a gift, it's a skill. And because it's a skill, like any skill, it can be developed over time. And that's the one thing that I want you to take away. Confident speakers, there are few, okay, a very small percentage that are naturally inclined to get up there and speak. Most people, they've had bad experiences when they're younger, in their adult life, and they have a fear of putting themselves out there. And if they do, it's not the real them. So the secret, this is about reclaiming your voice, and it's a skill. You got to go through, build that ability up. Get those reference points, build that skill, and that's going to help you go to the next level. So if you want to get the latest episodes, make sure you subscribe so you get notified, and we will look forward to seeing you. If you have any questions, put in the comments. I'd be happy to answer questions and do videos exactly for you.